Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. The New York Knicks just came out with a W on the road in Orlando up against the Magic, the final score being 102-98. Definitely a grinded out basketball game. This was a game of runs, and New York Knicks fans, celebrate this W. This is a good W. Everyone's going to take a look at the Orlando Magic's record. Like, yes, they were games under 500. They got off to a very shaky start this season, but they were also hurt with some injuries. And you take a look at the Orlando Magic the last 30 games, or at least entering this game. Maybe they were 17 and 14 now in the last 30, but they were 17 and 13 at least entering this basketball game. They've been playing some solid ball. They've made some changes, obviously, to the starting lineup. Cole Anthony is coming off the bench now. You have Jalen Suggs coming off the bench. Jonathan Isaac has come back for, obviously, he's this defensive monster. We'll see what his offensive game looks like when he gets adjusted to the speed and physicality of the NBA once again. Obviously, he's dealt with tons of adversity when it comes to injuries throughout his NBA career. But you have Markelle Fultz that's playing solid ball. You have Paolo Banchero, who's a Rookie of the Year candidate, maybe number one on tons of people's rookie ladders, up there with the Benedict Mathurin. Franz Wagner, one hell of a player. Mo Wagner, who tries to get into your head, a very physical player. Bol doesn't really get any minutes as many minutes as he used to. He's kind of fallen off, has some things he has to adjust when it comes to his NBA game. Wendell Carter Jr., like, the Magic have good players. You have to give credit to what Jamal Mosley has done with this Orlando Magic team, and this is another game that the New York Knicks faced adversity. We faced adversity in that Philly game, being down 21 points, getting off to an atrocious start in that first quarter. The Clippers game, we got off to an atrocious start as well. We faced tons of adversity. That was a game we should have won. That was extremely frustrating. We didn't box out. You could say we should have fouled. Allowed a huge three-pointer. Momentum was gone. I thought overtime we kind of had no hope. All the momentum was gone at the Garden. We found a way to win in Philly, though, or beat Philly at Madison Square Garden, which was awesome. And the New York Knicks find a way to beat the Magic that have been kind of hot lately. They've won 2 in a row. They've been pretty damn solid in the last 30 games. And this is a good W. The New York Knicks got off to a very shaky start offensively. I thought we were very stagnant. I was like, how are we going to match up against this Orlando Magic team? They have way more size than us and more versatility when it comes to defending the perimeter and the inside. The New York Knicks always love scoring in the inside. They're not a consistent three-point shooting team. But the New York Knicks brought it defensively is what matters. We held Philly under 100 points. Then we hold the Orlando Magic under 100 points as well, forcing them to score 98 points. They did not shoot it well from the outside. But one of the main things, they definitely killed us in the interior early, or just throughout this game. If it was Paolo Banchero, if it's Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., they definitely had the size. Markelle Fultz being able to get into the teeth of the defense. And I thought Markelle Fultz played one hell of a game. I believe he finished with 21 points, 6 assists, had some pretty solid moments defensively. He may never live up to that first overall pick status, but he's shown that he's still a damn good player in this league with tons of athleticism, even as that mid-range jumper that he likes to go to with that fadeaway. And obviously, I don't like to see him knock down a free throw versus my team, especially off of a huge and one in the fourth quarter. But just seeing how much he's gone throughout his career, following his story and all that since Washington, it's just awesome to see him knock down a free throw because it was just absolutely atrocious with Philly, him bobbling the ball, shooting the free throw and all that. But the New York Knicks just did not get off to a good start. We're allowing offensive rebounds. We're allowing dribble penetration. We're allowing entry passes. RJ Barrett comes back in this game with an illness. He was bad through 3 quarters, or at least the start of the third quarter. I thought he played a little better in that third quarter. Like, towards the end, I remember he made a very nice pass to find Quentin Grimes for a 3, who I thought played pretty hard. He was decent defensively, drove to the basket strong a couple times. I thought he was hesitant at times to shoot the 3 ball, but it was awesome to see him nail that 3. And I was like, yeah, the New York Knicks, I don't know how they're going to score in this game. Like, it's the offense, okay. Like, the offense should be good enough. The defense desperately needs to step up. And the defense stepped up when it mattered most in a game that the New York Knicks and Orlando Magic both had momentum shifts. It was like, it's the Magic's game. No, it's the Knicks game. It was literally a game of runs. That's what I would like to call it. But I thought, yeah, the New York Knicks really had lost hope in that first quarter. There was no offensive flow. We're turning the ball over like crazy. RJ's missing shots, gets off to like a 1 for 7 start, 1 for 8 start. Just terrible defensively, bad footwork. I thought he had bad awareness out there on the floor. Kind of lost his man, and I believe Franz Wagner was wide open. There was one play, though, I do defend RJ. I believe it was at the end of the third, or at least in the fourth quarter, later on in the game, when Franz Wagner beat RJ Barrett. And you could say, oh, that's his terrible defense, and maybe he did get beat, but there was no help in the interior, so that's going to be very tough for RJ Barrett when it comes to that assignment, really defending with his hips and all that. But it was a shaky start. It definitely was. But you have to give credit to Emmanuel quickly for coming off the bench, really providing a spark, just instant impact, and quickly was amazing. We needed consistent buckets. We needed someone that could just consistently give us a spark coming off the bench and step up, and quickly did that. If it was in the second half, if it was in the first half, he played his ass off. Credit to Emmanuel quickly, 4 threes, and I believe at least a couple of them came in the second half. He hit some big time shots. He huge pair of balls on that on that dude. That man got some big ass balls. No homo, and tons of people are gonna take that out of context. But he plays hard. He continues to hit big time shots for us. And credit to Emmanuel quickly. He played one hell of a game. Isaiah Hartenstein comes off the bench. He has a block. He has a floater, but he gets into foul trouble early. I'm like, all right, we're gonna need some offense, guys. Like Brunson, Randall, we're gonna have to step it up here. And this was a low-scoring game. I believe we had 40 points at halftime. This was like a 1990s NBA game. It was just so wild. So I'm like, who else is gonna step up offensively? Brunson though did have a steal. He did have a three-pointer. We forced the Magic to an offensive drought. We started to step up defensively, and then we were down 26-22 after the first quarter. But second quarter, the interior defense still wasn't great. You know, we cut down on the turnovers we had in the first quarter. But the interior defense still wasn't great. Randall Doe did hit some threes, hit a fadeaway to get us back in this game, but Franz Wagner was cooking. He's not someone that's really like, oh my God, exciting to watch. But for someone that really appreciates the details in basketball, he's not crazy shifty or anything like that, but he just moves very well. He's very mobile for a guy of his size. He's able to get into teeth. The defense has pretty damn good body control and is able to finish very well. So I do appreciate Franz Wagner's game as just a fan. But yeah, the Magic didn't shoot it well from three. That's what really saved us. They hit 6 3-pointers in this game, and 2 of them came from Mo Wagner. That was a crazy thing. New York Knicks would go on a run, but Mo Wagner hits 2 threes, who's a 31% three-point shooter, hit back-to-back three-pointers that were just extremely frustrating. Literally a game of runs. When it looks like the Magic are going away with it, New York Knicks just come back, scratch, claw, and have some nice defensive possessions. Randall has some big-time buckets. Brunson has some big-time buckets. Grimes drives strong to the basket. But with the New York Knicks, obviously they didn't end up like having some run that they're up 10 or anything like that. Because when we did get the lead, I believe for the first time in the second half, it became a few leads that we did have because it was such a back and forth game. When it came to the fourth quarter, Markelle Fultz and Jalen Brunson trading buckets when it did become a back and forth game. But when we initially had a lead, when we were in this huge hole, I believe it was like 2-0 or maybe 4-2. It was really early on in the game because the Magic absolutely took over that first quarter. And I meant to say the Magic, they had an offensive drought in the first quarter, but I don't think it was a 4-minute offensive drought in the second quarter. I know they had an offensive drought. I thought we finished the half pretty strong, but the Magic finished it stronger because then we became very stagnant offensively, allowed some buckets in the interior. I believe Fultz had some buckets, so we were down 48-40 at the half. So it was like, RJ's going to have to step up when it matters. Like, illness or not, if he's feeling good or not, but he was out. He should be good. Like, when you're coming back, you should feel all good when it comes to, at least physically. Mentally, it's a totally different thing, being prepared for an NBA game. But in the second half, when it comes to the third quarter, Banchero is taking it right to the basket. You know, he's getting to the teeth of the defense. I remember hit a very difficult fadeaway as well. Magic is starting to take over a little bit, but then Randall responds. And give credit to Julius Randall. Randall was clutch. He's been clutch the last couple of games. The Philly game got huge buckets in the interior. That fadeaway that floater over Joel Embiid, tough drive over PJ Tucker, which was a floater. And then in this game, he hit a pretty big time 3 in that fourth quarter. He hit clutch free throws. He got a big time rebound in this game as well. So we definitely have to give credit to Julius Randle. Obviously, Jalen Brunson as well. Even RJ hit a pretty big time 3 in the fourth quarter. Hit a couple threes in that fourth. Made the nice read to Grimes at the end of the third quarter as well. When I thought his defense was pretty damn good in that fourth quarter as well. See, I'm someone, if we win, awesome. Like, that's all I care about. And you want to see someone play a complete game, but when you step up when it matters, you just got to be encouraged about that. But Randall responded after Banchero really taking over this game. I mentioned RJ had that kick out to Grimes. I thought started to really get it going defensively. Just this was a low-scoring game. It was 69-66 after that third quarter. But just Jalen Brunson is just so steady. This dude didn't have tons of shot attempts. I thought he was scrappy, played very hard out there on the floor, but he gets buckets when it matters most. Like, mid-range, three-point, getting into the teeth of the defense. He found ways to get into the teeth of the defense and make adjustments as a player. Like, that's a key thing of, like, can you make adjustments? When the Magic have size, when you're not really able to get into the teeth of the defense in the first half as much, can you make adjustments as a player mentally and attack, even with this bland-ass offensive scheme? He did that. So you have to definitely give credit to Jalen Brunson for what he was able to do. But there was a moment I thought the Magic flipped the switch when it came to momentum, when Randall picked up a tech, which was a huge technical in that third quarter as well. Even Tom Thibodeau was telling the guys, go get Randall, hold him back so he doesn't pick up a tech. Picked up a tech anyway. But yeah, this game was frustrating. It looks like yeah, we have this 1 point lead, or we cut it to 2, and then they're up 8, but then we cut it to 2 again. Like, it was just so funny. This basketball game was literally a game of runs. Sorry if this video is all over the place. This game was literally all over the place. But in the fourth quarter, RJ Barrett set the tone. Like, he hit a 3, he banked it off the left wing, which actually made it ended up being a tied game, but the Magic keep on responding. Jalen Suggs, he responds with a pull-up mid-range jumper, then quickly actually gave us the first lead of the game when we're up 1 at the very beginning of that fourth quarter when there was 11:04 remaining. But I'm sure tons of fans in the 90s that like low-scoring games probably did appreciate this game, but it was just frustrating. Quickly ends up giving us this 1-point lead, and this is pretty much where it happens when we allowed some offensive rebounds. I believe we allowed like a shit ton of offensive rebounds in this game, but Mo Wagner ends up hitting a couple threes, which were ridiculous. So when he made the second three ball, that put him up 80-75. The first one put him up 77-72. Quickly responded a couple plays later. He ended up hitting a big-time three ball. Quickly was just amazing. RJ was able to get to this floater as well, which was huge. He had another 3 with 6:41 left to cut it to a 2-point game. RJ Barrett also got into the teeth. The defense was able to throw it up to Jericho Sims for a huge dunk. So credit to RJ for playmaking, playing solid defense, knocking down his threes, finishing at the basket a little bit in the fourth quarter, stepping up when it matters. That's where he kind of put the statistics aside. Mo Wagner, though, which was surprising because he was killing us in that fourth quarter. I was surprised that they kind of sat him a little too long when it came to the fourth quarter as well. But you have to really give credit to Jericho Sims in this game. Maybe statistics-wise, he didn't have some crazy game, but I felt like he rebounded kind of well. There was just times that we allowed so many offensive rebounds that it probably overshadows rebounding performances in this game. But I remember in a big-time moment in the fourth quarter is when Obi Toppin missed the second free throw after making the first one. By the way, Knicks fans showed up. They were crazy loud in Orlando. So Obi makes the first one. He misses the second one. And Obi gets his own rebound, but then he misses it. But then Jericho Sims gets it and then has a huge dunk there off the offensive rebound, which actually put us up 1 with 4:55 left in that fourth quarter. But Markelle Fultz ends up responding with a ridiculous 17-foot jumper from mid-range territory. This was literally just a back and forth game. Franz Wagner is able to get into the teeth of the defense. But when it comes to the final 3 minutes of that fourth quarter, Jalen Brunson literally took over when it came to getting to the basket, making a ridiculous read. He made a very nice floater with 3:32 left in that fourth quarter to make it an 87-88 game. We were down 1 in that moment. But you have to give credit to Julius Randle. He scored some buckets when we were behind. If it was three-pointers, he actually made some very nice reads in the first quarter throughout this game as well. We just missed tons of shots, especially at the beginning. I actually did like his playmaking this game. I thought he played pretty hard on defense. There were some inconsistencies at times defensively for this team, but then you also have to remind yourself how big the Magic are, so there's going to be a mismatch when it comes to the interior being able to get there. But Julius Randle hit a pretty big-time 3 in the fourth quarter to give us a 2-point lead when there's 2:54 left. He had a 27-foot jumper to put us up 90-88, but then Markelle Fultz responds with a floater. Like, Markelle Fultz and Jalen Brunson, it was literally them going back and forth. After Julius Randle hit that 3, Markelle Fultz was able to execute from the baseline, I believe, hit this follow-away jumper and 1. So he executes a 3-point play, then they're up 1. Then Jalen Brunson ends up responding with the mid-range jumper. Like, this dude's just an assassin from mid-range territory, especially when it comes down to the fourth quarter. So after Jalen Brunson makes that, we're up 92-91. And then after Jalen Brunson ends up hitting a big-time mid-range jumper to put us on 92-91, we did have a stop at the basket of Paolo Banchero. He was not able to finish. They did get an offensive rebound, but we were lucky that Markelle Fultz was not able to knock down an open 3 from the outside. That's not his game, but it just felt like a Knicks thing. They've hit 6 3-pointers all game. Watch him hit this when it matters most. And this was scary. It was like Randall hits his 3, but then he falls to the floor. It reminds me of the Heat game. Obviously, a totally different sequence, though. That was off of an inbounds. Julius Randle ends up falling to the floor, ends up being called for a travel, and this is when we're up 92-91. Then Markelle Fultz ends up responding with a ridiculous dunk in the interior. Jalen Brunson responds with this push shot. Like, Jalen Brunson just continued to respond. And this one I thought we kind of took it over when Jalen Brunson was able to respond with this push shot off the glass, I believe. And then Paolo Banchero had a very ridiculous nice drive to the basket for this reverse layup. And I thought it was going to drop, but it went in and out. And this one I thought it kind of sealed it, because we were up one after Jalen Brunson made that push shot. But then Paolo Banchero missed the in and out reverse layup. We were able to come down with the rebound. Jalen Brunson on the other end is able to get into the teeth of the defense. Beautiful manipulating of the eyes. Ends up finding Jericho Sims. He throws it down the dunk. Then we're up 3 in this moment. So we're up 3. I believe there's around like 25, 30 seconds left here. When I take a look at it right here, we're up 3 with 39 seconds left here. Quinn Grimes actually checks in the game for defense. We're able to get a stop. Franz Wagner's not able to hit the 3 from the outside. Ends up becoming this foul game, which I was okay with, because I was like, I think the Knicks have learned their lesson when it comes to being heartbroken from the three-point line. So the New York Knicks did make this a foul game. So after Franz Wagner did miss that three-pointer, Randall ends up missing a huge 3 on the other end, just wide open, didn't knock it down. RJ just lets Franz Wagner go to the basket for a dunk, which I was okay with. I was like, don't foul, just let him get the bucket. So then they're down 1, it becomes the foul game. Jalen Brunson, clutch, hits both free throws, doesn't even flinch, nails them, which puts us up 3. And then we foul Fultz. It becomes this foul game. But then it did come down to the point that the Magic were down 100-98. Fultz makes the first free throw. He intentionally misses the second free throw, and they weren't able to get it. This was huge. I was like, if there's one time we get to box out, it's here. Randall ends up getting a huge defensive rebound. They're not able to get the intentional miss to try to win this game or send it to overtime with a 2. Randall hits clutch free throws as well. The New York Knicks stepped up when it mattered. RJ made reads when it mattered. Floater, that three-pointer. Brunson gets into that mid-range, makes that huge pass to Sims, knocks down his free throws. Randall gets the rebound. Randall knocks down the free throws. Knicks grind it out again. Was ugly, but the Knicks found a way. That's all that matters. Let me know down below your thoughts. Peace out, y'all.